Would you do an invocation for us, please?
Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for blessing us, Lord, and thank you for all that are here and they got here safe. And Lord, we just ask that the decisions made tonight in regards to the town are the best decisions. We thank you, we love you. Amen.
Jimmy?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Charles McGregor.
Present.
Ryan Dawson.
Here.
Dennis.
Here.
Chad Fisher.
Here.
James Smith.
Here.
Hold order time 6:01.
Man, we're fast. Number 5, swearing in of the town clerk treasurer. My bad. Like swearing at, but would have been funner that way. All right. Michelle Burns, front center, please. Please hold up your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Michelle Burns,
I'm Michelle Burns.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma.
and that I will not knowingly
I will not knowingly
receive directly or indirectly
receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable thing
any money or other valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty pertaining to my office,
of any act or duty pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear
other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as town clerk treasurer
as town clerk treasurer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard.
And you just sign the bottom.
Already did.
Okay, thank you.
I see we've got a motion and a second.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion, got a second, motion and a second, approved.
Before you move on to the next agenda item, I'm on the agenda at the school board to speak at 6.
Okay.
And so she's gonna notate me leaving the meeting at this time, and then I'll speak to them about 20 or 30 minutes, and then I'll come back, and then she can notate the minutes of when I return, right?
Sure.
Okay, no rules broken by doing that, correct? Okay, and then just so y'all know, I'm just going over what we went on the last meeting in regards to the agreement between the town and, the school for leasing the ballpark. And,
Well, they could've came here, you know?
What's that?
They
Yeah.
could've came here.
We thought it'd be easier if I just step out, go speak to them real quick, and then come back to this meeting, so. Okay, I'll be back. You know, take the time, please, thank you.
Yep.
Molly might not get married now.
What's that?
Said Molly might not get married now.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm gonna take bets and let him just talk for 20 or 30 minutes.
I bet I could.
Him.
Oh, him?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see him in 2.5 hours. All right, number 6, acceptance of mayor's seat. Consideration of possible action of acceptance of mayor's seat by Bob McGregor for the Board of Trustees for the town of Union City for a 2-year term to end in April 6, 2027, at which time the seat of mayor will be open and appointment of the position will take place by a vote of the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
Well, do you accept your seat?
No, don't ask.
Do I have an option?
No, you can decline it. You can actually at this point, because the reason this came about is you didn't have to run for your seat.
Oh.
So you didn't really need to be on the.
I'll make a motion, Bobby, accept.
Now you get it, there you go.
Where that was going.
Got a motion, got a second, all those in favor? Aye.
Just a second, check.
Acceptance of vice mayor seat. Consideration of possible action of acceptance of vice mayor seat by Ryan Dawson on Board of Trustees for the town of Union City for a 4-year term to end on April 9th, 2029, at which time the seat of vice mayor will be open for appointment, but the position will take place by vote of the Board of Trustees. I make a motion that we force him to accept.
I accept.
Thank you.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. consent are considered by the Town of Union City Board of Trustees to be routine and be enacted by one motion. Any Board of Trustees member may, however, remove an item from the consent agenda by request. Do I have a motion on consent agenda items A, B, C, and D?
Motion to approve consent agenda items.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Number 10, financial reports. Or 9, yeah, correspondence to citizens, no action. Number 10, financial reports. Thank you. See, that's why you should have been here. The regular monthly financial reports for all funds are provided to the Board of Trustees for the review of information by the Union City Treasurer, Michelle Burns. At the close of business, May 30, 2025, the bank balances are as follows. ARPA is empty. Capital Improvement Bank First is $245,268.16. Capital Improvement at First National Bank is $198,032.87. Community Events is $12,691.47. Federal Asset Forfeiture at $17,399.69. General Fund at $297,364.47. State Asset Forfeiture at $6,040.26. Street and Alley at $15,250.38. Traffic Bond Refund, $36,908.32. Municipal Authority at $56,195.24. Municipal Deposit Fund at $56,195.24. Union City Police Department Community Projects, $5,573.65. Union City Dispatch at $7,754.69. Union City Fire at $944,332.09. Union City Police Department at $271,956.43. Total amount of funds accessible to the Town of Union City is $2,114,767.72. All right. Department of Union City Code Enforcement.
There on the southwest corner is no longer.
What?
The old house on 59th and Banner is no longer there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Strange thing.
I'm thankful, it is completely gone, the property's cleaned up, that'll become a wheat field for Berkshire Farm. And will be maintained. I will bring you a piece of property, that we're working on along with the police and the fire department. The house is vacant, it's an old family home that should be on there next month for you guys to possibly see. Reach out to the family tomorrow, once I have some other papers. I'm afraid we're gonna have to condemn it and make them tear it down.
Where at?
Alice, just build Albert's home, okay, unfortunately, but obviously it's gonna end this week and start to work with them this month.
That's a shame, it was not,
It was, but now it's not safe to be in, unfortunately.
About 10 years ago, Tony was, raped.
Yeah.
All right, any more questions for code enforcement?
Perhaps the weeds are growing. Drilling has started to pick back up. I've been working the last couple of weeks, got 5 drilling permits with Camino National Resources. They're on there, I just completed those today.
could you give me a list of those where they're gonna be at? That way I can give it to the county, and when they're putting their entrances in, we can keep a better eye on how they're putting them in.
I sure can.
And
So
work
each
with
time
them.
would like to email you when I get the new application.
That would be good, because
See that?
a lot of times they'll put an entrance in and it'll be sloping towards the road, or they
Yeah.
won't put a pipe in or something.
And they're supposed to work with county to do that. I know, they don't always.
Yeah, they don't.
And unfortunately, some of those approaches aren't not.
It's kinda like their water lines are running right through the tin horns and then the water can't go through them, but.
I sure will. I
But
can
that'd
start
be
doing that
good.
as part of that process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? All right. Moving on. 11A, sell town-owned property, camera gas.
So, this last, probably month or two, the property's gotten pretty hot.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, yeah. So I have an offer for you. It is from a local here, builder. He's wanting to about 4 acres. And where he's wanting to take over is right here at the end of Park Drive, straight over to Griggs and then come back. I had been in talks to Griggs, they were kind of interested in that little 1 acre section that completes them. That is mostly in a floodplain right now, so it wasn't really beneficial to this offer, so he was okay with not taking that in. So around 4 acres is what he's wanting, going to build, 4 homes on about 3/4 of an acre lot. And as of right now, he's looking at well and septic. Home prices between the 265, 275 area. And the offer is for $40,000, which would put it at $10,000 an acre.
What did Jacob offer on it? On that 10?
For all of it.
Jacob is available by phone if needed. If we have water and things available, well, unless we
Well,
work out something.
he was kind of, playing either way. He would go, if it is available, he would much.
Your call has been forwarded to.
I can tell you, you got paid, get water,
Yeah.
unless you test well.
Yeah, that's the way I agree from him, he said, if it's available.
And he was okay with that, he just didn't know the cost, from the last meeting, on the sewer and things like that, and what it would be, he'd be interested in doing that, connecting to the water. I know you guys had talked about doing it, a little bit bigger line, or something like that, but he would be interested in that. But as of right now, since there's nothing there, he would look at.
Not a deal breaker.
No, it is not.
David, did you say it would be hard to find water there?
Drilling,
Really?
yeah.
Even with it being a floodplain?
We've, back when I was doing water wells, we drilled several around that area, and there's one at, can't remember where it was, right, it seemed like it was Alphaville or something, around 59th and Alphaville roughly, and it was less than a gallon a minute.
There's my cousin just quoted one for 15,000 for 200 feet.
Yeah, and they're high anyway
Yeah.
now. I know they're really high now.
So, if we were to accept that offer, and then nobody wants to buy that back spot, Greg's gonna back out of it, how are we gonna have access to it?
That would be, we'd have to have an easement to that, it would not be very profitable to have that, because you're landlocked basically, and you'd have to have an easement to it,
What's Griggs' thoughts on that piece of property?
depending on the price. So I told her I would let her know from, what we decide on this, and then move forward.
That's very advantageous.
Sting town going there.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of,
No, it's
don't
better
buy
for
acres.
Brian
It's
to
almost
buy all of
right.
it and then he sell it to her.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
He might be interested in that, I don't know, he texted me earlier and said he couldn't make it to the meeting, he was in Kingfisher, but his plans was to build 1 or 2 this fall, and then add to it.
yeah.
And he'd even told me that if they get water there, they'd be interested in more,
if he can get it there, being that there's no specifics on price or
Right.
anything for sure, this would be his offer, is what he told me, so, anyway.
How do we do that, lawyer?
Need to have an easement.
No, well, I'm not
Well, I
saying
think
about
what
that
if
too,
we
but I'm
just-
saying about acceptance of the, if we were to accept that bid.
To accept, if you were, say that again, I'm sorry.
If we were to accept that bid, is that it, or does it need to go?
Was there any other bids at all?
No, not not,
That's what I'm saying,
Like, you have to give others opportunity to.
No, I'm not sure that you wanna accept that bid until you have an agreement for an easement back to that other bid.
right,
so what we were looking at, if this is agreed upon, this sets a price and a precedent, then we can go to Griggs with that price, and we can do it contingent on Griggs buying that acre, because it's all gonna have to be surveyed off, and that way we can have it all surveyed at one time. So we could have this contingent on Griggs, that we'd have to set a price for that one off. But this would kind of set a comp for that.
If they accept this, you will be doing the agreement and everything, then it would bring back to them. Is that what,
Yeah, I got it.
is that
I
what
mean-
you're asking, Ryan? If you guys were to accept that, then Cameron would move forward with doing an
Right.
agreement.
right, like, do we accept it like that, or do we give, like, somebody else opportunity to come in too as well? Is that?
Well, I mean, it's open to anyone at the moment.
Right.
So it
Has
has
been for
been,
you.
yes, and it has been. So at any time, anyone could have gone in and say, oh, I only want an acre, but, Griggs was only interested in that acre, said to complete theirs. This offer didn't really need it, didn't care for it, so,
Did you have a written bid or anything?
yeah, I got this,
You got it?
yeah, I have it in writing, he's got a written offer. So, and on the offer, we have it for, it's 10,000 an acre, more or less. So once if we survey it off and it's closer to 5 acres, then it would adjust. It would give him the opportunity, if it does adjust, to go back and renegotiate it. So, if it comes out and it's really 6 acres, but he doesn't need all 6, it would still open it up. It's kind of a, catch for both, not really a catch, but a caveat for both sides. So he could still acquire that additional acre for the 10,000, but it would kind of open it back up for him. And it is contingent on it being rezoned residential.
And I think you need to have the contingency of an easement for that.
Well, if Griggs buy it, we wouldn't need an easement.
Well, I understand that, but have they agreed to buy it?
No, but that's what I'm saying, if we went back into that, yes.
Is the vote on it as a contingency upon?
The devil's in the details on this deal for me, like, I love the offer, I like the money, but on the other hand, does that guy have a trailer park on Main Street? For me, that's the biggest factor here, for me, was getting trailer parks off of 81. But, I'm down for whatever. I think for each of us, the thing you gotta think is what's the word, because at this point, he can go and put whatever trailers he wants on that place. You wanna have a trailer park on the 4 corners of Union City for the rest of your lives, that's the decision you make.
I don't know, I grew up here, so I've seen it my whole life.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, I dwelled in one. The only bad thing about it is it's not gonna have water or sewer. So it won't be helping out the municipality with that.
What do you mean?
He'll get there eventually.
Eventually, it'll get there, they'll throw water in, but it, you know, it's not gonna be benefiting to our municipal funds.
They know what it says they have to.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
said that wasn't a deal breaker, he wasn't quite sure how that was. He couldn't figure it out.
'Cause we don't have a minimum on line size or anything, but to get there, you can see.
He's gotta work with David,
Right.
gonna have to go through David, he'll have to approve
You
it.
do me, I told you the engineer.
Well,
Smarter than that.
for your crew, your crew, his department.
Yeah.
So is he thinking all the way down to the pond?
Right here, even with Parkside,
Last house.
Yeah.
The house or the
the
road?
road, right here.
So there could be a road, well, there could be a road there, but there can't be one on the north side, right?
Right.
We can still go walk the pond and get snake bit.
That'd be 4.12 acres.
Well, I didn't know you were that technical, you could just bring a page and I could've given you that. I had it already figured out here for you.
Did it take me longer than you?
Huh? Something else,
Alright.
So,
So you vote on it to be contingent on the sale to Griggs's.
we can't, what we can always do is write up a counter that we would accept upon new term. So everything in his offer would stay the same, and then you would counter to the change that it would be contingent, or, as he could only accept after we get something in writing, with an offer to Griggs.
What is the will of the board?
I make a motion to accept Brian's bid contingent on the, Griggs's buying the 1 acre, but that
Do
then,
we pay for closing and surveying?
how does it usually go?
So, depending on the survey, that's what we we're gonna have to survey it off anyway. I would say on the seller side, you would pay for the survey for the 4 acres for him. If he wanted to use I told him if he wanted to use the same surveyor and go ahead and break it up in his 3/4 acre lots while they're there and utilize it all together, then that would be something that we could discuss. But it's usually on the seller side of it to go, since we're breaking off for commercial and that. And then your customary closing costs would be, we'll actually have to build an abstract for that. And then we would just build an abstract for the 4 acres, and then if it's his will to go ahead and divide it on out, he would have to pay for that abstract for the additional 4 lots. So,
Since the town, is selling it right now, since the town property is zoning exempt. As part of that motion, would you guys do any kind of language to say, and allow the property to be zoned R1A upon completion of the sale?
yeah.
Because it doesn't really make sense to turn around and make them come back and rezone it when it's
Right, and it does,
zoning exempt.
it is stated in here that it is, his offer is,
But for me, on my side, it'd be good to make that part of your motion, that way.
and I put it, the town of Union City would rezone the purchased land residential prior to funding. So we could go ahead and close, that way and then you don't rezone it until it is actually funded.
Once it's done, okay.
So that way, if anything comes up in the meantime, if you wanted to wait on the zoning and then zone it right before closing, or before, you know, so,
Just make sure you include the R1A.
Yeah, R1A, single
Yeah,
family
okay.
residential.
I just did, residential.
Okay.
So,
That's
yeah, we
one
can make
acre
that.
for my office. I have to do that.
And then it also, I have subject to approval for the final survey from both parties, so that way you guys are okay with the survey as well, and then, that it is okay for it to be sectioned off into 3/4 lots, 3/4 of an acre lot.
So I make a motion to accept the offer that she has from Brian Riverton on that 4.12 acres, and to rezone R1A. Contingent upon the Griggses buying 1 acre at the same price Brian gives for the rest. $10,000 an acre.
No good land?
Yeah, it's all,
Land?
I
that's,
don't know, I got some of it, he's got some of it, that's what he paid for it.
There you go.
But if
I've
you
got a
think,
motion.
but if you think it ought to be cheaper, that's up to you, what do you think, Cameron?
I think we can do it at 10,000 and see what they come, I mean,
If you think you'd wanna come down after that, then I would, but that's where I'd start.
Okay. Got a motion, got a second?
I'll second it. Beat you to it, Chad.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
I will get with a write-up counter for that, so that way it is in writing for the R1. So it would say, keep this, everything in play on this, but then, it would also include the language for Griggs as well as the R1A. So, okay, and then I can get it to Michelle to sign, will that work?
Yep,
Skip Johnson's calling.
yep. Michelle has we've already given you all the paperwork and everything, signed everything from the last one.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if not, I've got copies of it here if you need it, so, yeah, we'll get together and I'll get that,
Okay.
sent to her.
Motion approved, let's roll on. 11B, water and sewer franchise permit. Consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of a water and sewer non-franchise utility permit approved by Scott Vaughn and David Jones for the utility facility on County Union City right away.
We were still waiting on,
No action?
yes, no action.
Unless Tom's got a rabbit in his hat.
Right.
No rabbit, not here.
Alright, number 12, Union City Police.
Have a few things, interlocal agreements on here for our sheriff's office for our jail housing contract.
What does it cost us each time to house?
Well, we don't do it a whole lot anymore, but the new contract is $57 a day, we charge $75.
Yeah, I can't build a jail for that, so.
We could, but it probably wouldn't be sanitary.
Is that 12C?
Yes.
Other than that, a lot of training going on, getting all of our
I
research.
saw we had
driving.
a new guy. We had an officer I had never seen before, younger guy.
Trey,
Okay.
yeah, he's one of our dispatchers, reserves, right.
So the extra unit, will that be in addition, because didn't we buy one and then decide we're gonna buy something new,
Bought two.
buy two?
Yeah, I'm waiting to get, they're any day. And the surplus is to sell two. That goes to replacement.
And we have no way of saying how much we have involved in those two.
Oh, I can tell you. On 17/12, I spent $15,810.57 on maintenance. on 1814. I've spent $27,297.52.
That one got go. How many miles are on those units?
Over 160 on one, 180 on the other. I've got, Hydro PD is interested in one or both of them.
Are either one of those Owens' override? And the old silver one still run like a champ.
Like a boss. They made them different in 2011.
They did, didn't they?
It just makes me sick. Getting new ones, they just keep going downhill.
12A, the one from Mustang.
Have we already voted on this?
No, this is another one. They just offered it to me, cause it's a next fiscal year. They didn't know if they were able to sell more than one to one municipality, in a fiscal year, and they got approval since it's outside of that. But it's a 2022 with 21,000 miles, so right about the same as this last one we got for 45,000.
It's already a roll, right?
Yeah, just graphics and radio.
Well, David Rogers got one over there in my building tomorrow.
You're
It's
on
an
the
old War
same
Acres
roll.
unit.
Huh?
It's an old War Acres unit.
What does it take to cost a fit one of those with everything?
About 17,000. I have a quote for a brand new Explorer, turnkey, brand new with the upfit, $64,000 for a brand new unit.
Explorer.
Should it be 57? How much are the ones from Mustang?
45.
45, and then another 17 on top of it?
No,
It's
sorry.
upfitted.
Oh, okay.
It's just graphics, about $2,200 in details.
How many miles are on that unit?
21.
Pretty good.
Mustang ain't very big.
My question is, with us spending this much money, was Mr. Wallace gonna bring us some swaddlies or something?
Giving us about $25,000 off.
What'd you say you priced the surplus ones at?
I haven't priced them, I'm taking offers, with your approval, I'll take offers from other agencies, and if I don't get any takers, then we'll put it out for auction, but you're gonna have to go upfitted. I'm not gonna spend the money to decommission them, take everything out, just to turn around and not make anything off of them.
Did you say around 12 or 15?
Yeah, probably, I mean, the one that I've spent a lot of money on, probably 8 to 10, the other one's in pretty good shape, I can probably get 12 to 15.
Is, who is it we've been selling to?
The last two,
Cooper or whatever?
the last two we sold to, I don't remember his name, down in Duncan, but
Larry.
we stripped them for that.
I was pretty good. I was pretty shocked when it went down.
McNair's.
McNair's,
Yeah.
Does he have any interest in them?
I haven't even asked if he'd be able to resell them upfitted or not.
I think it unfit them.
He could.
I don't know, whenever I was in the car business, we get them in the auctions all the time, but
Yeah, there's a few places, there's a place up in Claremore that, I have to reach out to them, that's all they do is buy old cars and stuff.
there was one that ran through El Reno that came from a very large local agency, and there was a fire on it found again.
Oh, no. Never good.
So let's make sure that's not us. All right. So I don't do it, how do you failure to yield from a stop?
That's usually accident involved.
You know, every single month it surprises me how many people get pulled over that never had a license. That's sad.
A lot of
Those
them.
local people, they passing through, passing through.
Certain foreign nationals.
Kids nowadays wait till they're 18 and 19 to get their license, I'm like, I don't understand that.
All right, any more questions on PD? No, I'll watch this one.
So you need some motions and,
Not yet, we gotta get to that.
well,
Twelve A.
no.
All right. 12A, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, and acceptance of purchase of 2022 Tahoe from Mustang PD for another $45,000 from budgeted fiscal year 25-26 funds. Do I have a motion?
Police budget?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 12B, surplus 2017 Tahoe. Consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, and acceptance of declaring surplus 2017 Tahoe ending in 2254 and 2018 Tahoe ending in 4576.
Make the motion to approve that, surplus dollars. It's declared as surplus.
Motion, got a second?
I'll say it.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 12C, interlocal agreement, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or the acceptance of an interlocal government cooperation agreement between Canadian County Sheriff's Department and the County of Union City. Do we want to send people to jail? That need it.
I make a motion to accept the interlocal agreement with Canadian County Sheriff's Office and County of Union City.
Got a motion, do I have a second? Number 13, Department of Union City Fire.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, oh, my bad. Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same,
So, should've been there.
my wife's gotta approve it.
No, I'm saying you should've been sitting here.
Well, enough, I'm just saying.
Abstinence is for before marriage, right? Alright, number 13, Department of Union City Fire.
Should have a report.
I keep forgetting David went fancy on it.
Make it look good now, I tell you.
Keeps me in the hair going, boom, boom, boom.
Trying to remember what you did, like me.
Yeah, too many of them.
Did lightning come in that deal the other night?
More than likely, but. You talking about the structure fire? Yeah, I'd say probably.
Whatever's in front of my house.
Oh, that.
Oh, no, this is the structure fire was up there, you're
But
saying.
you said no fireworks on the videos I saw.
We had blew down the power line and it got into the Cox line and melted that Cox line from pole to pole slowly. And that's what was dripping and catching the tree on fire. We couldn't do a thing about it till they got there and de-entered that line.
That was one of those moments that, very few moments that I was thankful that I had CK.
Yeah.
Amen.
Actually, been doing better lately,
Yeah, I'm telling you, we didn't even flashing all that wind yesterday. I was like, what in the world?
We had to be down, clean out there in 20 minutes.
Yep, you own it, yeah.
That pole anyway over, we still had power, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that just goes to prison for one building.
Got the grant, we're gonna
Yeah,
get the new.
got that grant we put in for the battery powered jaws, a couple SCBA's, close to 80 grand. Cost us nothing, it's not matching grant, so that's good.
Awesome.
Getting ready for Fourth Fest, as you can see,
Looking good.
and then, Packard is here, if y'all have any questions for them,
Alright.
on the same.
Hafford EMS is still scheduled to begin manning our station with an ambulance as of July 1st, 2025, which will significantly enhance EMS response for the community. Alright, so what are we doing different? I mean, why do they wanna come back?
So, talking in front of chief, since I've been here, I got here in December, we had a truck here going on.
And they pulled out overnight and never said a word to us.
Yes, sir. That is what I was told that. So I've been contemplating, looking, the call volume doesn't justify a truck in of itself. Not gonna say that it does, that hasn't changed. Strategically, it makes sense for us, with our contract ending in El Reno, it makes sense for us to, strategically, not operational, not financially, but strategically. It was offered, and I looked at it, and I thought, well, it makes sense to do that. Couple things. Number one, it helps us with somewhat, with, some of our, current obligations on the western side of Canadian County. It also helps us backfill Gary. That makes sense, without us going and trying to come up with something in between here and Gary to put a truck. The other side of it is because, listening to the chief, listening to Scotty, understanding the way things were done, it's not the way we do business normally, it's not the way I do business. And to kind of full disclosure, mend some of those relationships and to provide a service for y'all, for this area of the county. It also helps back up Mustang. There's some, like I say, the strategic side of it, and if I can start to mend some relationships and strategically gain a truck, or gain a station, then to me it makes sense. As we work through this, as we go through, there's a couple things that we are gonna have to do that I found out after our last conversation. But it's nothing I think's major. If it's something that y'all are interested in, I'm interested in doing it, and, I think it'll work out well.
So a few of the things that went down that upset me in that deal was, number one, we reached out to Packard many times, and nobody would ever come sit in that seat where you're sitting right now, not one time. The other one was they told us, well, it's because we were losing money, blah, 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 because every single time that their ambulance would leave our firehouse to go to Mustang, they would credit it to Mustang.
I just don't
So-
think they're credited.
So I guess the way that it was explained to me
Okay.
at that time was, if it made a Mustang run, it was shown in their system as Mustang,
It does.
not that it came from us.
It just comes back to us to restock and all that.
Yeah.
It still does. I'm not, this is, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
But the end result for me is, I would love to have you, but I need to know that you're a little more serious than the last guy. You know?
Right.
That really upsets us, because, I mean, it put us in a spot. And, you know, we had already developed that room and everything for them, and then you just pack up your bags and walk out overnight. I mean, it's like an angry step ex-wife or something, you know?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was pretty shady.
And I can fully respect your position on that. don't disagree with you. If, with the current way that our, finances are done, when that truck makes a run, whether it would have been in El Reno or Mustang, it's still gonna be that way.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with that, I just need somebody that'll stand there and say, well, yeah, that's the number, but, you know, they had to come back to Union City to refill that truck, you know.
So, I'm gonna pull back the curtain, just, I can tell you, I'm as good as my word, you don't know. Yeah, so I'm not trying to sell any of it. It doesn't make financial sense to do that, other than I've got get the numbers right. I've got employees, I don't wanna lie about the numbers, some of them are gonna go to working out in El Reno, some of them are, that I vow to keep working. If I'm gonna vow to keep them working, I gotta pay them to work that up. If I have an ambulance for them to work out of, I need a place to house that ambulance that I don't currently have. That is the commitment that I have, is to keep my employees working, and if, again, and I mean this, if we can do that and try to mend the relationship, then I think it's a win-win situation. Now, is it gonna financially be beneficial as far as, can I show that the Union City truck is making money?
Well, no, I don't even need that, I just need somebody that stands up for
Well,
us.
so what I'm gonna say, the reason I say that is to say that, you know, am I gonna get questioned on this? Have I already? Absolutely. I can strategically show it, because of our commitments we have in Plain County and our commitments that we have to our employees, that I can strategically make that argument. I get hit by a bus and struck my life and I die, move back to Texas, whatever the case may be, somebody else come in and make a different decision, that's possible, I don't know. But I can tell you that with talks I had with Chief, and we're looking at it, I don't see that changing, and if it does, because I could be wrong, then I'll sit right here and we'll have a conversation, and we'll have, I'm not gonna do that. I will not do that. If it ends up being where it just makes more sense that I need that unit somewhere else, because there is a possibility of that, and a year down the road, 2 years down the road, then I'll have fun with it. And that's all.
And I'm fine with that, you know, I mean, I think at this point, you know, which, I mean, as long as I'm in this seat, you know, we give it another run, but if it happens again, I'm out.
I agree.
You know, I'm out.
I don't blame you. Like I say, I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't wanna make promises that I won't be able to fulfill.
Yes.
But if it were to come down to something where we had to do a change, talk to the chief, and then I'm gonna sit and talk with y'all and say, this is why.
Yes.
You know, the subsidy that would come off the truck like that, and I've ran the numbers for y'all, cause that's not what this is about, but that subsidy is about $38,000 to $40,000 a month. I'm not asking for that, this is a strategic decision, not a financial decision. And so, the only reason I'm bringing it up in this form, is so that if it comes up later down the road at some point in time, it's not catch-22, or you're not,
Well, I'm just thankful that you're here, you know.
Well, I apologize for not being, I've been in town since December, and I'll be honest with you, I've got to go to, try to make several city council meetings, and this was just one that did, I just had to make.
You know, just having somebody here with a voice, you know. It's kind of like us sitting there twiddling our thumbs, and we're like,
When was that? This last year?
When
When
they pulled out.
been more than that, it's been a couple
23.
years or more.
So what are we paying now? Our residents are paying so much on the.
That goes to them, that's like a membership.
$6.50 a month.
Yeah, $6 a month,
Water.
whoever wants to be on it, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that he talked about we will need, Tom, is, so, you know, a letter or a lease, we have to lease them a spot for $1 a month or something like that.
We do that, that's on me.
Yeah.
That's all, that's my fault.
but if they pull it out,
For their insurance.
we get $15,000 up front, right?
Well, and I made, whenever I sat down and talked with the chief about the plan and the idea, that was my ignorance. I didn't, at least, cause we'd been there, we left, I didn't bring up the lease portion until, much later,
Okay.
we already put that on an agenda. As far as Patrick's concerned, if you guys are in agreement and allow us back into the space,
Will you be using our dispatch?
what's that, no, sir?
Well,
Is that tax that we passed, is that supposed to help with that?
Yep, so it's allocated 20% of that to go to EMS.
Some shape or form.
Whether, and it's by, it could be to paying them, it could be for medical supplies, anything medical related, is what that's allocated.
all right, by show of thumbs,
But technically, you know, we do.
yeah. Are you in?
I think our citizens like the fact that they are here. And that they do follow David around.
We need Chase back here.
You? There you go, you got thumbs up, bud.
Thank you.
My wife's tired, she pulled her 650 when they left town. She said, we got insurance, we pay for the ambulance, we want you here.
Yeah.
So,
That would cover you, sorry, some of y'all, but that would cover you anywhere, Packers, like if you were in Yukon accident, stuff like that too, if you're on that membership, not this year.
Claremore, Oklahoma, wherever, anywhere we go.
Ryan Paramore, we need.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
That's why we had to go, they would still cover it, you know,
Okay.
just out of El Reno with it.
Yeah, I see him tonight.
We got 5 more pages.
Okay.
All right, number 14, Department of Union City Emergency Management.
So, couple things since then. I'm burning the sirens up on it, I guess, no.
This'll work.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, so out of the 11, I went ahead and did another test Saturday, because they ran so long, Friday night, Saturday morning, however you wanna look at it, I don't even know what, might have been low, whatever it was. But, we did have 3 fell. And he got notified today, and he's trying to get them into on his radar this week. Probably something simple, I went to the one at his house, and I could hold a button in and it ran, so it's just probably some little relay or something, and, I don't know, the one over here on Maple and 59th, wouldn't work Saturday.
29th,
Oh, do what?
over there by.
Fire department itself, wouldn't join, so, that's the 3. The good news is all the ones out, other places are working. The one at,
was the fire department one working before?
it worked yeah, every one of them was working.
It works
until-
storm night, just not on test day.
Yeah, exactly, every one of them worked during the storm. But it won't, they got tired, I guess, I don't know. But,
Gregory Estates one, how's it going?
Yeah.
it's not, the parts, all the parts are in, so it's not in. But there is one out in the banner in 27th, so, you know, that,
Oklahoma City don't have any out there.
Well, get them fixed.
Just
We need
fix
some.
them.
I'm already on them.
Number 15, Department of Union City Water Sewer.
Fort,
Another increase?
it's been a year, believe it or not.
Didn't we talk about that?
I thought we
You know, that's different. You were talking about,
meeting before last week.
not there, that was trash. Yeah. And, the maintenance on the software is one thing you added last time, but, and then, we've not been given anything yet, so this, their contract says they can't do anything for 3 months once they give it to us, so. You know what I mean? So once we get it, it'll be, well, it's not gonna happen July 1st, I'm saying. If they even do it.
So now we have to do sludge removal?
You gotta start thinking about it.
What was the,
Results,
yep.
they really weren't as bad as they thought it might be.
Of the jetter the other day.
Oh, I don't know, it broke through and flowing, so
Where was it clogged at, David?
it was right here on Pine, it had nothing to do with your side.
Nothing.
I think it probably helped you, cause it helps on this side.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. And it's gonna be on the sludge, you know, depending on what they can do with, like, you let them put it on your pasture or not, something like that. Whew. He's got proof,
but his neighbor will.
he's got proof to show
May not
something
be
about
cooking that.
25% something if you put it on there, I don't know. So you can just walk out the door and use it and save that roundabout to get back there.
That's right.
Now this was done last week, just reported on that. We did have a few little things this weekend, a line stopped up, but that just sometimes happens, it don't matter. We had, the main line over on behind Dairy Mart. It didn't back up, they got so full. What happens is, everything on that side of town runs to a manhole just north of Dairy Mart, then turns and goes west. And then the Dairy Mart just comes,
That's the same ones these guys are wanting to move lines and all that.
Yeah. So, got with the guy, I think what we're gonna have to do, because it did back up into Dairy Mart, got some DairyArt stuff, is we're gonna have to put a check valve, so to speak, right by the manhole, so when it's coming from this side of town, it can't go. What it is, the force, when you get so much, the force is going, pushing it fast where it turns, so it's going to the end. He's on the end of it. So, it hadn't happened in a long time, but it did happen this time.
I've had a flapper valve on my line, but for some reason.
It didn't hold or something. So
Well,
basically, that's what we
but
were.
this time it really did.
So my question is, was it caused by rainwater?
It is getting some rainwater, yes.
So where's our leak at now?
So that's the thing, you know, me and Hunter literally, I spent hours Saturday, worked all day, and we did it again today, going around looking, trying to find the flow, so to speak, the extra flow. I did a lot of research. The biggest thing is, you gotta remember, it's an old system, and the whole system's underwater right now, basically. We've got so much rain.
So there's all them storm drains hooked to that,
No,
around the four-way?
none of them are hooked to the sewer. At least they're not supposed to be.
Where do they go?
They go
to the end down here.
Yeah, if you look, you'll see, basically that's the creek that runs under the railroad tracks and goes, like the low water bridge crossing, when it's over, that's where it's all going, as far as that part. But the,
Yeah. If it wasn't for that one, that'd all be inside.
That would've been a crappy deal.
so I'm getting with the engineers, but I think what we can do is put another check valve up the line for them. My thinking is right by the manhole, but make sure, and then that way when it's coming, it will turn. And you gotta remember, and it's on my report, before this happened,
How many years has that been happening?
Since they built this new lagoon in '88. And, the only reason it happened then is because prior to that, we had two little ponds, farm ponds, and we didn't have to worry about it because it ran over the dam, it doesn't get high enough. So now the water level probably gets high enough that the water can't even hardly go into it,
yeah.
you know, and so when that happens, you're just backed up.
Yeah.
And this guy right down here, of course, even Tony Bastard said the time before this, he was hearing gurgling and everything. And also, it's not just the dairy market that actually backs up.
What we learned today was, it looks like a little bit everywhere, if that makes sense. In other words, you check this manhole, it's not forward, as you're backing up, it gets a little less. Cause they just go every which way and end up eventually coming to one. So, we're getting, and that's why, even my report said that before, is doing another smoke test, but you can't do that till it's dry, you know? All it takes is one person actually to go out in their backyard and pull their clean out off to drain their yard, and we don't know it, and you're getting the whole neighborhood, you know, in a way to know till.
There's the end of the line is right behind the dairy mark back in that field, and anyway, it's about that big around, and it's had a little bend on it forever. David raised it up a little bit, I said, don't raise it up too much, because I'm pulling that dude off if it gets much. But in 15, it was shooting out that.
Really?
It wasn't just running, it was shooting out that field.
Yeah.
and I've never seen that
That's when
before.
we got the hurricane.
Yeah, we had a lot of water.
Tornado with-
Inches in
We had a bunch.
8 hours.
We're way better than we've ever been, but we still got improvements to find. But again, it could be one little clean out, one little anything in the right spot that we don't have a clue about until, it may not be on us, maybe a person who will have to do more smoke tests and, cause I bet we pulled almost every man on this town off the last few days. I'm tired of pulling them things.
What would it cost us to buy the machine to smoke test ourselves?
I don't know that answer.
Look,
I'm not sure, yeah.
So, I mean, that would be something handy for us to have.
Yeah, it'd be needed in the long run.
So does it show what's underground, like in between manholes?
Well, if it's dry enough, what you do is you plug one in, and it shoots smoke down it. It should be coming out the top of the houses, because that's where your freezer is, so to speak. And then, it's supposed to find the cracks and come out of the ground if there's something wrong, or, clean out off, or whatever the case may be.
Oh, when it's real dry, when you got cracks.
But you gotta have dry. It won't. We're also gonna have to get some areas that I've marked and got concerns with. I'm gonna get on camera, that being one of them, between there, just to see how it looks.
All that from the prisons comes that way too.
Yeah, exactly. So we used to get about, on that range, I get 400,000 or 500,000 gallons a
Will
day.
they allow you to walk through the prison and look? Cause I've
Really
always
not see everything.
I've always questioned if they've got cause like you drive past the prison, you don't ever see a bunch of water out there in the chained up area, like no standing water, nothing like that, and I've always thought, I wonder if they've got a drain that drains all that water out into us.
It might. They got 2 manholes fairly close that are both supposed to have, catches in it for cause man, we're always getting orange shirts and
Socks.
keister packs, and everything else.
All right. Moving on. 17A, four-way stop, consideration possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, and acceptance of four-way stop at Division of Macon. I would make a motion, that this is a four-way stop at Division of Macon.
And I'd second it.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
No,
Aye. Motion approved. Tell the county commissioner.
I'll notify them tomorrow.
you don't do,
I'm gonna go a little further than that even though, if that don't slow them down, that there'd be a speed bump for each end of the school zone.
I'll be good with that. Number 18, Department of Union City County Clerk Treasurer.
Report.
You missed me.
Animal control.
16.
Animal control, my bad. Back her up. Well, we'll just do her and we'll come back.
That way it's fine.
Alright. Anything special to report, Michelle?
Nothing special to report, everything's pretty normal, finances are normal, we're climbing still.
Come back and eat a river.
Awesome. Feeling better, lively, biting heads off. Alright.
On that, I did talk to the auditor, there was an issue with how we were reporting sweeps in QuickBooks. So I've spent the last 7 days fixing QuickBooks. Basically, sweeps were showing as income and expenses instead of transfers between accounts. So it was showing me millions of dollars in income and millions of dollars in expenses when we actually didn't. So that should all be flushed out.
Cool, thank you.
He worked his tail off on it.
Alright. Number 16, Department of Union City Animal Control. How many dogs you got?
You got report.
I already bypassed it.
Dispatch report.
Now that he has support for everything, he goes.
Yeah, give me just a couple minutes. And then we can
probably gonna need another Jake break sign on the west end of town though.
I'm sorry?
I told him he probably needs another Jake break sign on the west end of town.
West?
Yeah, coming up to four-way stop.
Oh, yeah.
And in, yeah,
Yeah, you'll be making some
both
bad
ways,
numbers.
they'll be.
Anyway, so back to your answer, 2 dogs at the smoke.
What kind of dogs you got?
Rock, right there they are.
Mhm.
I think,
Roddy?
Roxy
I
and.
think the realtor said she wanted one.
I thought she said she's taking.
You got the
Yeah.
cow
Hey, you got cow.
Yeah. I got it right now.
The magic word is no. I done texted my son that.
That rock bar is around, took over.
We picked up one, 15th and Country Club. I said, you could've kept on driving. But his girlfriend.
Well, that was what I was thinking, you know, David, those dogs have already gone out once. It might be a good idea to not post them up in Union City and, you know, give them somebody in another town.
Go ahead.
They've already figured out how to get out.
Any questions?
No, sir. 18A, Deputy Court Clerk.
Still miss 17.
I've already done 17.
Oh, yeah.
But, alright. Never mind, let's go back to that.
So 18.
17.
Following correspondence is provided to the Board of Trustees for the review and possible action and informational purposes by Water Supervisor David Jones.
Why would you say water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, report attached on it as well.
Ash Circle, is that Union City Road? Is it maintained by Union City or is it maintained by county?
Private, isn't it?
It shows on the plat to be a city street,
Really? I don't know.
even though it's in the middle of a truck park,
And where's it at?
in truck park. That second road, the road goes toward the back road trailers was,
Uh-huh.
it starts there at Third Street, comes down, loops back into Highway 81 there to south of 203, right before Tom's property.
Yeah. That's, those are even on the,
Yeah, it's
assessor's
like,
deal shows that
it does be a city
that's
street.
platted, both of those roads,
Yes.
2 of them there.
For sure, which is kinda odd, with it being in the middle of private property. And I gotta tell you, my parents owned it for 40 years, not once did the town ever maintain it. We did.
If you look at that, even that drain in between Tom's, even it's got an easement down to
Yep.
the floodplain.
But the property owner always took care of it in the past, but it is.
20 minutes, that was pretty good. We betting.
So how do we get that maintained from Union?
What's your question?
Huh?
If it's the street, county does it.
Actually, it's 17. We've never maintained them, but as
It's
good
not.
as it is, I guess.
Technically, we should.
It's been requested.
Is it, I thought it was wanting to move.
Mhm.
I thought he was wanting to move it. If we maintain it, it's gonna be where it is. You got no say so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's platted, you, to change that, you'd have to get it redone.
Yeah, the
Well, I don't know.
county.
Yeah.
I would think.
Well, got commissioner and a couple of them coming down this week. We'll just go over that too again.
Mhm. I'm sure nobody's gonna wanna fix it real nice if there's nothing in there.
Yeah, that's gonna be silly.
If you're mowing the rocks now, I don't know why you want more rocks.
Well, we gotta mow the rocks around the trailers that are coming.
And they'll be coming.
Alright.
The long report, I'm gonna meet with them this week. I talked to her earlier, so we're gonna look at some drainage stuff around town that I'm trying to note and fix.
18A, Deputy Court Clerk, again.
Serena Prince, I don't know if you guys got introduced while I was after Serena. This is the front. I have her bonded, I have her notarized, I just need her in the minutes to appoint her deputy court clerk. So we have a backup clerk. She does a lot of work in court with Tammy as well.
Okay.
Orange County title.
Deputy court clerk, water department citation.
Make a motion that we accept 18A, deputy court clerk.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 18B, new city park improvements.
Boy, you
You
were right
barely
on
made
time.
Okay. I don't know if it's different, I should've looked, is there different, agenda items for the park concession agreement than any of this, or is it all under 18B?
Looks like it's all together.
Okay. So first, couple things, when going over, the lease agreement, some of those questions are for you, Tom. One of their concerns was, when it comes to insurance, does it make more sense for the school to carry the insurance on the structures? My conversation was, is that, you know, like, in my line of business, like if we lease a facility and we move our company into there, most of the lease agreements I've been involved with, the leasee is responsible for covering the insurance of the facility, the tenant is. As soon as the property owner, you know, the tenants move out, the property owner then covers the insurance on that facility while he's in between tenants, and then they take that back over.
Sure.
So, but they were asking, if our insurance, and I don't even know who we use for our insurance for all of our structures and those kinds of things, but if we would reach out to them and see if, because the town owns the land, if the town could cover all the insurance costs, and then what I propose to them is if we did have to go that route, or that is the route we went, then we would not be able to do the $1 per year lease agreement.
Yeah.
We would have to increase the lease to offset the cost of what that would be. So I was gonna see if, I don't know if that would be you.
It's me.
Okay.
I'm Maggie.
Can-
They're already,
Yeah.
the city owns the concession stand and built it, and
Right.
it's insured by the city
Right,
already.
and then they, and again, this is getting in the weeds, but Greg had mentioned that there's a plaque that hangs in there, that Junior Booster Club, is who had built that concession stand. There's a plaque that hangs in there. So I don't know, like that's, and these are all
Although the
things.
city built it and paid
Yeah.
for it, you probably don't, I wouldn't know, I would.
Yeah.
think.
At the end of the day-
was involved in the actual building of it, though.
They were, okay, so maybe they did the labor and the
Yeah.
town helped cover the cost of the materials.
That's
There's no
one
telling,
of
at the end of the
the
day,
county.
the town owns the property and they own the building. And so, now you're saying OMAG is who covers ours, so, I don't know what the structural deposits are, like if those, like moving forward, if once we replace the scoreboard, if any of those structures are tore up in a storm, tornado, lightning, whatever the scenario is, what our deductible would be as a town to cover the repairs of those structures. The insurance they currently have, I think Stacy had mentioned that I know the deductible is like $25,000, and they might currently have insurance on maybe just the concession stand and maybe the dugout, but it's very limited of what they're covering. So if you can reach out to OMAG and find out what it costs, or if we're already paying for insurance.
They came out and looked at everything.
Did they look at those structures and everything over there as well, or just over here in the fire department, that sort of thing?
No, they went through, looked at that building too, it was on the list.
Oh, was it? Okay. So if that, but we want,
Now, I don't know if the dugout,
but we wanna make sure, like, what it includes, and I, apparently, talking to the gentleman who done this quote for us, I called him a couple times while in that meeting, towns, he sells these to towns, so towns own, like, Little League baseball parks and stuff, and they have these things, so I know that it can be included in the town's insurance, but, if it's already included, we just have to figure out what costs associated with that, so we can look at raising the lease price, to the school to cover our costs for leasing, or for insuring those, structures. Second thing is there was concern, because in the agreement, and again, we haven't really discussed this agreement, it's fluid, this was an old agreement that we didn't have any signed copies of, that we sent over to your guy group, and they freshened it up for us. But there is an agreement on here that in the event of negligence by the district, during events for which extraordinary expenses are incurred by the town to perform repairs due to settlement negligence, the district agrees to reimburse the town for any and all repairs that are required to return the area to operable condition. And it says during or negligence by the district during events for that district. But their concern was like we were talking briefly about the park concession agreement, and that we as a town still want to have the ability to rent out that space during any time the school district's not using it, we can rent out that space at a cost of $25, with a deposit of $50, and as long as they maintain everything, they get their $50 deposit back. That's what this agreement says. But would it make more sense if the school's leasing the concession stand, those properties from, the town, would it make more sense for them, the school, to handle the park concession or agreements? So that,
I mean, if that's what they want to do.
yeah, I don't know what y'all's thoughts
Right
are
now,
on
you've
that.
got revenue coming to you though.
Right, yeah, because their concern is, if, for instance, if they're leasing it and they're the ones that are paying, in here it says they cover all the toiletries, all the stuff that's inside of that there. If someone that we are leasing it to goes in there and steals all of that stuff or does any of those things, you know, we're the ones, like, the school would be the ones that have to replace all that stuff to get it ready for the next game. And that was their concern.
I thought it was just in their events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says just their events, in other words, if we're having an
So
event,
like baseball
it'd be separate,
tournament,
wouldn't it?
things
Yeah,
like that.
but so like let's say 4th of July or Easter, are we the ones replacing all the toiletries and the paper towels and all of those things? Or
We do go up and refreshing it before, if we're hosting an event, we go up, clean it,
and refreshing it,
like whatever it needs.
yeah, you put all that stuff back in.
And if it has anything out throughout the year, leak or anything, we take care of it.
Yeah, okay.
while we
Can
get
you have that conversation with Greg and just kind of talk through that? I think they're getting into the weeds, I mean, me personally, I think we're getting into the weeds on some stuff that just really isn't as big of a concern. If we wanna maintain collecting this revenue, then, they have to.
I don't have to point every year or two.
Oh, and I don't even know how often this actually happens.
Hardly ever.
We're talking $25.
Anymore,
Yeah.
very seldom.
Yeah,
And what's it cost them to do a baseball field?
yeah, yeah. So,
Right?
they said that if we was gonna keep this agreement with the town, one of the board members requested that maybe we just add a sentence in here that if someone does steal all of those things or does any of those things, that they're responsible for those costs. Just adding a sentence like that into the agreement to
But
where.
who's responsible for that cost?
The individual that's leasing it from us, that if they, you know, steal everything or do a lot of, you know, tearing things up or
Yeah,
stealing everything, we could add a sentence into the agreement like that would, okay,
The town property is things that we would wanna retain though, then,
yeah, yeah,
instead of giving that authority over to the
Right.
school.
Yeah,
That
I
would be
mean-
my fear.
yeah. I mean, I can see it both ways, but I agree, like, at the end of the day, the town owns the property, like, it belongs to the town, so.
I mean, like, we paid for the heat and air, we paid for the camera system, we paid for the, you know, all the stuff for it.
So we're getting ripped off.
Yeah.
So we don't
Yeah.
charge the school to rent it from us when they have.
$1 a year.
Right?
No, so right now, this old agreement that we set up, there, and we don't, we're all gonna assume, and talking to, you know, some of the people who've been at the school for a length of time, this agreement has always been $1 per year. I'm sure there's never been a dime exchange hands. We couldn't, neither party could ever produce a signed copy of anything. She's the only one that had a copy of it at all. So again, we're just trying to freshen this. In my opinion, there needs to be an agreement in place between the town and the school. It protects the town, it protects the school both ways, in the agreement. It's also mentioned that if, you know, they have, you know, removable structures and things that they've added to there, that if they decide to break the lease, that they can take those, things with them as long as it doesn't do any damage to the property or the land. And so there's things in there that protect the school, and there's things in there that protect us. So
They have their lawyer draw something up and send it to our lawyer.
No, what I told them was, and I gave them copies of it, I said, tell your attorney to look it over, you know, mark through or make any changes, and then they agreed that just to let the attorneys, to go back and forth until there's a final agreement that both of our attorneys agree on, and then we will look at it and vote on it, and they can look at it and vote on it. I told them, even though this is set, and I like the dates that are on here, I don't know who put them dates on there, that actually matches the school's physical year, so we all agree that should be left the way it is, but it may take us a couple of months to get this ironed out, but we need to leave the date structured from July 1st through June 30th expiration.
Yeah.
Now, on the very end of this conversation, so, Lance Mills, who has worked very hard in creating some other things, he's been trying to go out and get quotes and just helping the school and the booster club, baseball booster club, and, getting quotes for everything. He got quotes from 3, scoreboard companies, and this is the one that he wrote an email of recommendation that we used. I've reached out to the other 2 and worked with this gentleman here that's the sales rep for them, and so far, out of the 3 of those companies, this has been the most responsive. I mean, even tonight, he answered his phone 3 times without asking. you know, you can just tell that they take care of business. However, when the school board looked at it, they drilled into a couple things. They were concerned about the warranty. We called him, put him on the phone, and he sold the warranty, because if they're gonna be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of the scoreboard during the time in which they're leasing it, then they were concerned about what all the warranty included. So I put him on the phone with the school board, and had him go over all that, and they were comfortable with that. But when they noticed up here at the top, the colors of the LEDs, this company only offers amber or red, and the softball fields are currently white, and they said that's a lot more visible. The white LEDs are a whole lot more visible and show up better, and so that, we called them back. This company does not offer white, so we are now gonna have to go back out to bid for this. So I don't really have an action item for you guys tonight on this. Bob, you missed that meeting, but what, this, and this should be in your packet as well. Tom's office drew up this agreement for us. It's just a one-page agreement. Talked to JP at Bank First. He verbally agreed that they would do $1,000 per year, for a length up to 10 years, and then, that would help and reimburse us for the cost of the scoreboard. Now, the cost on this quote, the one we were originally gonna go with.
Us, the town, or us?
Yeah, us, the town, no, the town pays for the scoreboard up front, and then Bank First pays this marketing, the marketing for that scoreboard to the town. But, and the town retains the right, so like, when Bank First contract ends after 10 years, either Bank First can renew it, or, you know, we go out, the town would go out, or the school, and find a different replacement advertisement for that space. And, you know, and at that price, you might wanna raise it to $1,500 or $2,000, whatever the rates are going for at that time. And
15 years, wouldn't it?
Last month they said.
oh, yeah, well, yeah, it was either 10 or 15 years. He was open to doing either or. On this agreement, it looks like 10 years got put on this agreement, but we can bump that to 15 if we need to. So,
That's what we're paying for.
yeah.
Well, then it'll be voting to get a new one.
Yeah, he said the life expectancy of these boards are on average 20 years, and, all of the LED panels and the circuit boards and all of those things are repairable, which again, as long as the school is leasing it, they're responsible for the maintenance and
So
upkeep.
what's it cost us to get one of the flipboard ones?
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't ever
Yeah.
wear out.
Yeah, yeah.
Wrigley Field.
Wrigley Field, they still do that to this day.
Yeah, yeah, and when flipper wears out, you just get another.
Yeah, you get those flippers.
That'll never wear out. No maintenance, no nothing. I'm just saying.
Then you gotta, have somebody up there walking up and down a plank.
Like I tell my.
To be honest, it's probably like a dumbed down Ford, Chevy, or Toyota. You probably gotta pay more to have rubber floors in it than you do to have carpet.
So that school board stable,
Yeah, so, I guess, yeah, main action items are to check on the insurance, and then if you guys want to retain the park concession agreement and those funds to come here, just maybe add a sentence that requires whoever's renting it for the day to know that they're responsible for any damage or
Do
physical or
we have do they have to sign something, Teresa? If we're renting that, like,
Yeah.
when they're responsible?
Yes, you're paying,
Well, I think you basically have the insurance
Yeah,
on
it
it,
should be-
that and liability,
Yeah.
because if not, you're not covered if there's ever.
Yeah.
Number 19.
Hold on real quick, did y'all hear what Jimmy just said?
I said that I think it's best if the town has the insurance on those buildings and on liability insurance for it, otherwise you're leaving yourself open, you know.
Yeah.
If they sue the school,
Yeah, and
I'm not worried about that.
I think that's fine as well. Again, we just wanna know what the cost is associated with that, so we can increase the lease cost to the school, that price, so that those are covered by the school while they're leasing it. Cause we can't do it for $1 if we're gonna be the ones covering the insurance on everything.
Is that part of that raising it, Bill, or no?
What?
Well, the thing I read you had was raising that pavilion.
The high.
Oh, yeah, that's a separate conversation we need to go over. Where's that?
I wouldn't say, I'm not against them paying something, I'm just saying that no matter whether they
What's that?
are there or not, we have to have that insurance on that property.
Hey, I'm getting hit with all this stuff. I have no dog in this fight anymore. I'm just trying to help.
Baseball field?
Yeah, I did tell them that in the meeting, that it makes more sense, you know, long term for them to get, you know, that included in the bond issue and move that there. I mean, overall, that's what makes this whole thing difficult, is the town owning the land, the school. I mean, no different. I mean, you're not gonna put $2 million worth of money into something that doesn't belong to you. the town doesn't, you know, overall, I mean, I think for the most part, this board's been supportive of the things that's been needed for that ballpark, but at the same time, because I mean, since I've been here, we paid for the cost to move the school board to the current location where it is, so it can be better, you know, more visible, and then,
Hey, what are they gonna do when they don't have you that fight for them?
that's that's the next chapter, my friend. So, but then we also covered the cost of the materials to cover to make the bleachers shaded, but they did the labor side of it, but we covered that, but, and that's kind of the thing, like, I mean,
No, we
to
paid
make
for all
that.
that.
Huh?
We paid for all
Oh,
that.
labor too? Did they not end up putting it in themselves, I guess?
They wouldn't do it, sit there forever, remember on the ground.
Oh, that's right, I
Until
remember
we
that.
found it, yeah.
But long story short, if the town and the schools not both supporting that project over there, and I mean, and I'm gonna stand up too for the booster club members that are currently kinda handling everything, they have spent tens of thousands out of their own pockets to, you know, keep it as nice as it is, and it's, you know, it's a difficult thing for them too, cause they're, as a booster club, they're putting all that money into something that's owned by the town, and that's kinda what,
Have we ever put a meter on that?
So, we're doing it they haven't put the sprinklers in yet, but they're doing it now.
they finally raised the money, it's like
Yeah,
10 grand,
so
12 grand they've
They
raised.
know they wanted it, every time we go, whoever the bidding it wanted it somewhere else, but they've got that ironed out, my understanding.
Okay.
And told us where they wanted it, so we plan on doing that as soon as it gets dry enough, get the machine there. That won't take me a couple hours.
Yeah.
70,000.
They said it makes some money, you know.
Yeah, their water bill's going up.
Anything else there, Keith?
Yeah, kind of pick up for you, that's all the stuff I already reviewed, and then the papers. 18, here it is. Those two notes. Okay. So this was a letter that was emailed to us, I'll just read it real quick, it says, Keith, see attached quote, we obtained for, some of the wish list items, and this letter's coming from Lance Mills, as the, he's kind of on the booster club and handling all of this stuff as far as improvements basically the group of baseball dads that are part of the booster club, along with Coach Griggs, that are, you know, just trying to improve some things around there. Says, I share this in hopes that it will provide a little more clarity as well as an idea of the level of commitment and investment these projects will, entail. The contractor who gave us the attached quotes, Terry, Scrivener, is a retired firefighter turned contractor that has pulled building permits in Union City. I have used him on several, personal projects and highly recommend him. The pavilion, option A, the thought is to raise the ceiling height over the existing concrete to create a covered, lighted, multi-use space for the community that would serve as a batting cage. The netting would be retractable and removable so that it is truly multiple use space. The idea is they make these, netted batting cages, you know, just the netting itself, that are basically built on cable systems, so if you have a structure that needs to be for multi-use.
Like the one in the gym.
Similar to, it slides all to one end, and so it's out of the way, you have your pavilion, you have your events, and then when the baseball team needs it, they can retract that all the way back out and then have, usable batting cages.
So this stuff they're wanting us to pay for?
Well, he pitched it as this, they're gonna keep trying to raise money, and they're gonna keep raising money, and I will tell you, this group of dads is very driven as far as trying to raise that money and get some of these things accomplished. They're asking for help from anywhere they can get it, so if the town can spare some dollars to help with it, if the school can spare dollars to help with it, and then the money that they're raising, they're just trying to raise money in any way they can. So they are asking, is there any commitment level from the town to help with any of these things? And again, it's nothing more than a wish list, right? So they're making a list of the upgrades, they're kind of prioritizing what's most important to lease improvement, and then trying to raise the funds to do so. So, this is a big ticket item, but one that would benefit the baseball players program the most. The current structure is in descent condition, however, the headers are sagging and cannot be reused, as is the community will still get some life from it. If rebuilt, the life will be extended and the usability would expand. We would very much like to see this move forward, however, the cost associated with it would likely prevent it. To reduce the cost, I propose that we get the electric company to disconnect the overhead power source. Then the booster club members remove the lighting, electrical, and store it for partial reuse once the building is raised. $30,480 to raise that facility and to repair everything that's on that.
What is that?
The actual pavilion that's there, the shade and cover space. Because it needs to be raised and all of it repaired, and in order, they have to repair all of it in order to raise it. Well, they want to start using, they want to install batting cages inside there.
Used to be where the fair was held at,
Yeah,
they quit doing that.
I went and looked at that pretty close,
yeah,
and I've done that stuff a long time.
Yeah.
And, it wouldn't be worth it.
yeah, well, he has.
I mean, I know it's double,
Yeah.
almost to build new, but
Yeah,
trying to raise all that old crap.
right. I'll just present everything like it
Sure.
is, and then you guys can talk about it. So they want the electric company to disconnect the power source overhead. The booster club members will remove lighting, electrical, and store it for partial reuse once the building is raised. That cost is $30,480. Additionally, Terry is working up another number for total removal replacement, and I should have that to you prior to the meeting. In the event it comes up, we did obtain a second quote from a barn contractor. He looked at jacking the existing up and extending the post. However, due to the sheer length of the building, 70 foot, they said it was too much of a liability and a risk. They also priced a full removal replacement, 14 foot tall, 70 foot by 40 foot metal structure, and it was near $70,000. If we cannot raise enough funds to improve this space, we would propose moving the existing batting cage from behind the concession stand area to the area depicted down third base line, option B. We would like to add long freestanding, non-covered batting cage, gravel base with turf. That's estimated to be $3,500 to $5,000. The Red Star items are things we are requesting the city to also participate in. We did obtain a second quote to power wash and paint the outfield fence, and it came to $4,800. These were the items we felt reasonable to request help from the city. If the city finds that it would be feasible and or beneficial to participate in any of the other wish list items, it currently would be acceptable to the Booster Club. And he put other items on the wish list that are not quoted will be done by the Booster Club members, with the estimated cost that follows: the irrigation system at $8,000, bullpens at $3,500, new black galvanized chain link fence along first and third base line at $2,500, add pressure run to level the bleachers and asphalt
Is
milling.
there already galvanized chain link at that spot?
And the fencing's horrible. It's all peeling up along the bottom balls or leaving the field, during play, and they're worried about people. Right now, with the way it's all curved up at the bottom of the fence, like if someone's trying to make a play off of, first or right field or third or left field, and they slide into that fence, they're gonna get.
So if we decide to jump into this, how much money are they throwing in?
Well,
Any of these projects?
Yes, he has them listed, and that's what that email that I forwarded, I can.
So he hasn't listed on how much he's willing to put in on it?
Yeah, well, he says here that if the city finds that would be feasible or beneficial to participate, any of the other wish list items, it certainly would, acceptable to the Booster Club. And those other items that the Booster Club's trying to take care of now is, again, the irrigation for $8,000, the bullpens at $3,500. And the reason they're trying to get the irrigation done is because I would
With the
agree.
irrigation, they'd already decided they were gonna do.
It says it's been approved.
I mean,
Yeah, it says it's been approved, and they did have, so, well, but that's kind of the issue. So I don't know this for a fact, I wish Greg was here to tell you, but they had funds set aside, and then the field dies off, and then they have to replant the whole field, and then they try to resurface it, and they put a lot of money into that last year and getting it up and going, and they really need the irrigation system to keep that, because over the years, they just keep kind of redoing the field because they don't have irrigation, and they're trying to hand water everything, with sprinklers, of course, and moving those sprinklers, and it's a tough for, one or two people to keep up with. So once they get the irrigation in, that's gonna help them tremendously of not having to put, money back into the field every season.
Well, I get that, but I'm saying, I mean, if I had to play on a crappy field one year,
Yeah.
for me to go ahead and pay to get my irrigation.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing now. They haven't, it's done. They've got, the engineer stuff is done. I know they've been talking with David, they've got all that
They
stuff.
want us to help pay for the irrigation.
No, that's already paid for.
It
It says already approved and funds allocated for it to be accomplished this summer. The Booster Club's already paid for that. And the Booster Club, is also working on getting, again, bullpens for $3,500. They wanna replace that chain link fence down first and third base line, add pressure run to level the bleachers. The bleachers keep wobbling. I can't vouch for visitor side, but on the home side, and that aluminum keeps cracking out on that bottom step and breaking off. We've had Tony weld it up numerous times, but it needs to be leveled and set on a more solid foundation, because every time that aluminum starts to bend and move, every time people are getting on, it's just breaking it. So that's why they wanna level that and put all asphalt millings around the bleachers on the high traffic areas, and then AC unit and press box. Steve sod where batting cage currently sits is $500. and adjust and fix the field lighting. There's an electric company that has done this in the past for free, and Coach Griggs is contacting them. During those windstorms, a lot of those lights got bent into, facing areas that's no longer lighting up the baseball field at all. But those are all things that.
Remove old scoreboard. Is there an old scoreboard that's still over there?
Yeah, so on the far right field, there's a very small little scoreboard, that is there, that, since I've been going there, it's never worked. I don't know if anybody else can vouch for when the last time it did work.
We got it back over.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking outside the
But
box.
it's not ours.
Why don't they?
I don't mind doing it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
mind that at all. It's-
Yeah. Yeah, and I can tell them that they're wanting to help any which way they can, so if it's.
Yeah, we'll move it, but.
Yeah, but, well, and I think there's even they're worried, they don't know technically who that really belongs to. It's again, it's one of them items that, so can they take it down, and then can they try to sell it, or, you know, as a surplus item for the school, or, you know, what needs to happen with it? Did a booster club buy it in the past? I mean, that's kind of been the issue with all this, like, nobody knows, you know, and so, and since the town owns the land, like, they just want permission to take that thing down and discard of it.
What was it, Dale, the one there,
Yeah.
I was thinking
What
maybe
is-
you have put in there in improvements, ought to stay there, and
What is
the
a
property
bullpen?
in the city instead of they can take it with them. I mean,
Right.
if you wanna build something over there, it'll be part of the community, and
Yeah.
you're just investing that, whether you're the school or the town, or
Right.
whoever you are.
I'm not a baseball guy. What are new concrete bullpens?
So bullpens, so like, when you have pitchers on both sides that are warming up before they're actually placed into the game, they go to the bullpen and warm up, and so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
We used to go outside the fence and throw.
And they are, and they're outside the fence, but they have actual bullpens that are set up for that.
Are we set up for pro?
Huh?
Are we set up for pro?
No.
I don't know about
But
y'all, but.
they don't have.
Any
We got
improvements
any
they get
minimum
looking for, I
average?
wouldn't mind matching it or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, I mean,
I don't mind matching money, but I don't know about us going out.
and some of the minor things, that they're talking $5,000 or $6,000, it's not too bad a deal on fence and stuff, but if you're talking about a $70,000 building and that kind of stuff, then somebody's gonna have to come up with some money, I think, to do that.
And then,
Besides just us.
why are they thinking that our property is parking?
Let me figure out this is that.
That's what I've been saying about us doing that, put $1,000 worth of gates in, and we sell the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean,
it's
the
not
conversation
parking.
is being like, in some of their early drawings, like, is how do we expand parking, or where can we, there is not enough parking right now. It will not hold, when you have even a two top 10 ranked teams, how many are parking in that field at most of those games? I mean, it's 50 cars parking in that field. This parking lot, and not only that, the part that, and we've approached this numerous times, and David at one time was even bringing cones out there and trying to keep it to where they can get an ambulance in down there, because somebody's injured, because they'll fill that parking lot to the point to where you literally gotta wait for the back 2 rows to leave before the front 2 rows can even try to move. And so just trying to figure out some way to extend parking to,
So
because it won't even
as
hold.
we move forward, are you not wanting to sell that as commercial?
Oh, yeah, and that's why.
That way.
Huh?
She's got it listed
Yeah, of course,
for sale.
but also, I mean, and again, that little bitty baseball field that nobody used, like, do we move some of that parking over there on the west side, you know, on the other side of concessions, or what do we do to extend parking? You know, I mean, it is an issue, and when that all sells, you're gonna be.
There won't be any access. I mean, how do you gain access to that little baseball field?
You have to move the.
You have to move the park where the little baseball field is and make the.
what if somebody wanted to play
park-
tennis?
Yeah, I want a tennis court. Maybe I wanna play pickleball.
Underwood,
Yeah.
discount.
But parking is an issue, yes.
Do you know how much we need to prepare to spend on this project?
Yeah, so all the quotes are here, but if you guys are open to looking at doing what he said, like a match thing, I can go back to Lance and say, hey, for every dollar that the booster club raises, the town will match.
And what,
I think we would just, I think you pick, you know.
Or have them pick out their
This
top.
is an elephant. Do you know how you eat an elephant?
Yeah, a little at a time.
One
Yeah,
little
of
bit
course,
at a
yeah.
time.
so
you
is
know.
it gonna come out of capital improvement?
That would be up to the board, I mean, to decide which fund it comes out of.
But, I think he needs to figure out where he wants to start.
Right.
Most important,
There's,
yeah.
Yeah.
What grade is his son in? Junior?
He's gonna be a junior, yeah, yeah.
so after
Well, we
next
hurry
year,
up.
he better.
Yeah. Lance is doing this, I mean, genuinely, you have to meet the guy, he's a genuinely good guy, and this is tasks that all the parents gripe about and complain about, and want these improvements done, and year after year, people talk about it, but nothing, there's never any action done, right? So Lance took it on his shoulders and said, I will go get all these quotes, and I will do all this stuff, and I'll present it, but at the end of the day, you know, he's just trying to serve.
Lance lives there.
Lance lives in Mustang, on the far, east side of
I'll get
Mustang.
it.
Some of those things like the black galvanized fence is $2,500, some rock $1,000, air conditioners $300.
Yeah.
If you're not moving the batting cages, you won't need the seed, so you're not talking about much money right there.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah.
The rest of that stuff.
Biggest thing was, I went and looked,
Yeah.
you would raise something that's wore out, needs replaced anyway, if you were gonna sit this way, it would be better to
Yeah,
put a
and
new
so-
structure up and have a nice,
Um,
nice thing, metal, you know.
So
You
this,
can build a big building and enclose it.
as he mentioned, go ahead.
So why don't, alright, number one, cut gap, gate, in the fence to retrieve foul balls.
Yeah. Right now, we have kids,
Okay.
you have to go to a game, but them kids are.
Why don't we just have the ag teacher go out there and do it?
Yeah, he just, again, we can get that stuff
I mean,
done.
that'd be a good
It's
ag
just
project,
permission to
wouldn't
do
it? And then nobody spends any money, and the ag kids actually get to do something besides
Yeah.
kids.
It'll get done if we say it's okay to do it. I mean, he doesn't wanna do any of those things, or even make phone calls, do those things without somebody, these are just a list, again, of things that he would like to get done.
So start with having him call the ag teacher and see if the ag teacher's willing to do something like that.
Okay. I can, if worst case scenario, if y'all are okay with it, I can find a volunteer, welder to take care of that as well.
Man, that's our first bite of an elephant right there.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Because I wasn't here and I'm trying to financially prepare for things, we were denied in budget for doing a building, yes? Yes. So why are we spending money towards other projects when we need to have our space here?
Right now, I'm trying to find a way to do it free.
Okay,
That's the first bite of the elephant.
okay. I still need to know if the amount total is this amount right here
We don't know,
They don't know yet.
with,
They don't know.
there's a.
These are all estimates, yeah.
there's nothing in,
Because it didn't have the right.
So we don't have,
right.
okay, so I don't have a
So
way
we
to
just
know.
go
You're not
one
through
at a
yet.
time.
Yeah, and on the scoreboard, we've gotta go back now because they want the different color of LEDs, we gotta circle back and get different quotes, and then I'll have to represent that to you guys at the next meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get the financial
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Well, you know, it look real nice, Ferguson Hall. You're away with all these problems right here.
You know, I bet we get big old Ferguson right across that little scoreboard so it stands up above everybody else's.
In that first letter, he mentioned that he would send us another email before this meeting, and I can read that for you real quick, it's much shorter. He says in the email, that here is the cost for full replacement of buildings. And he put, the undesired, proposes to finish all materials and perform all work necessary to complete the following: remove the existing pavilion and erect a new 40 by 60 by 14 foot structure. All work will be performed to the following specs: remove light fixtures, weatherhead and mast, and store on site. Demo the existing structure, cut off the existing steel posts, flush with the ground. New structures, spot footings 20 foot by 30 with rebar and 3,500 pound concrete, support columns 4 inch by 4 inch steel tubing on 10 foot centers, trusses 40 foot, 2 by 12 pitch, shop built with, engineer stamp, sheet metal, R panel with, fitted ridge. Note this quote does not include the following items: electrical work, dumpsters, any required plans or permits, and landscaping. All construction debris will be removed from the job site. Workers, comp and liability certificates available upon request. All the work, to be completed in, workmanlike manner according to standards and practices. The sum of $47,390, payable as follows: cost of the building package down $17,000, the remainder in performance draws. Any altercation or deviation from the above specifications involve extra cost of material or labor will only be executed upon written orders for the same and will become an extra charge under the sum mentioned, in this contract, and all agreements must be made in writing. This price good for 10 days from date above, so,
It's how much?
$47,390.
It's gonna take
Yeah.
a lot of years at $1 a year for this paper. so
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's a bad investment.
yeah.
Alright, let's move on. Number 19, Department of Union City Human Resources.
Nothing to report.
Number 20, Department of Union City Payroll.
Nothing.
21, Department of Union City Deputy Court Clerk.
Yeah, my work.
Like speak.
My speech.
I don't think we got
No,
that.
David Jones said he was gonna take over my speech today. You know, towards the back. Looks like this.
Hey, that's not always a bad thing to do that.
Does that mean I get to quit coming?
What's the questions over the maintenance fee?
Well, it's for what you were talking about. The lady came in and was asking at the last month's meeting that you were talking about it prior to, so, what was last month? The April meeting, they were asking if it was what we were talking about in April to May, and I said yes. So they clarified that and everything's good now. We should be able to use our pay free here quickly, I'm not sure about that, but that should be up and running soon. And then we should be live August, October or so for our new software. So I'm so excited for that.
Do we vote on this approval to close the accounts?
Do it under new business.
New business.
$10,
I think that's all.
no.
Alright, 21, amended, 21A, amended resolution number 2025-3 rate change.
On 21A and 21B, only thing that needed amended was just the number sequence.
Okay,
Everything else she did was perfect, it was just, we got thrown off on the number sequence.
alright, do I have a motion, can I do them both in one? Or have the other?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion on 21A and 21B? I'll make a motion on 21A and 21B.
I'll second it.
Alright, motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, moving on. I'm hungry.
You'll have to check
no
out when
action.
you voted on that before your turns.
What?
You'll have to either check with Jimmy on what he voted on, or you'll have to note him missing from that, he didn't vote. You can rush, we still gotta do things in order.
22A, adjournment of executive session to action. 22B, executive section, action, no action. 23, mayor and trustee report, anybody got anything to report?
I still need an answer, I know you just went on, but are they permitted to do any of these repairs they choose to, yes or no?
I mean, we need to know how much, so we
Yeah.
match.
Yeah.
We wanna help.
Okay.
But we need to know how much they need, what they
Okay.
wanna do,
Before I-
where they wanna start.
Okay.
You know, they can't be like, hey, here's 200 things and
Right.
we need $255,000.
Yeah, I think more than anything, they just want permission from us to start on the things that they've already got money set aside to approve.
Like, you know, start on the fence, you know, we need to.
Do we need to make a motion on that in order for them to do those things, or we're good with just telling them verbally? Okay.
Alright. No
Just
reports.
making sure, they're worried about cutting on things and doing things without.
Jimmy, we need your vote on
On what?
the, amending the resolution 2025-03 for the sewer and trash.
20B.
And it was for what reason?
We didn't talk
Number
about that.
number
Just numbers
sequence.
go backwards.
Oh, that's it, I thought we already talked about it, okay. Yeah,
We
got
need
it.
to have.
Approved.
Alright.
24, new business.
Me, I have new business.
I got it
need to-
first.
You're gonna wait. I need to add Teresa Woolard to the bank account under the federal ID, that's for the general side. The, bank has revamped their contract, and we still run into, if I'm out for something, and then Tammy, let's say, has an emergency and is out, something needs to be paid, there's nobody to pay it. Teresa's been here, she knows how to do it. So we're coinciding with what the bank has now needs from us.
Do we have to sign again?
No, no,
Good.
look at that, I got it all ready,
we're doing is
good to go,
adding
they just
Teresa.
need it in the minutes that we approved for her to be added.
No.
For general?
Yeah, it's not, she's not gonna be municipal side, she'll literally fall under the federal ID number for the town of Union City.
Okay. And the other new business, need approval to close accounts that are under $10 that have been inactive or deceased. So I make a motion that we add Teresa to the bank for general, and we approve closing the water accounts that are under $10 that have been inactive or deceased.
Inactive for how long? What,
This is the aisle that I'm working with, so I mean,
like 6
That
months
whole
or a
thing?
year?
Oh, years.
yes, years. With
So
it.
give
Try not to have to pull that over to the new.
So give us a time.
No.
You want 6 months, you want a year, you want 2 years, you want 3
How
years?
about just have $10 on them?
Inactive for how long?
It's anything.
Any inactive account, so we're not taking it over to our new software.
No, but what they want is anything over 6 months gets deleted.
No, you're saying $10.
Anything,
Good
yeah,
things.
but they're wanting a
$10 that's
time
been
frame,
inactive
like
for 6
anything
months.
that's been inactive for a certain amount of time goes.
Is there a lot of specific names on that?
Do you wanna look at
Or
it?
is that something the auditor needs to look at?
There are many that are deceased, there are some that are former property owners, some that are former tenants,
Whew.
even after taking
You
their
got time
deposits,
to
but
do
it's still.
Yeah, y'all put their over here.
You gonna put that through all that? Call me when you get done.
Don't do it then.
All right, we're gonna table that.
Like, for example, Miranda,
Give a motion on the first one.
Yeah. Motion to add Teresa to the bank for general.
I'll say it.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. We will table this pending letting just somebody contact the auditor.
Yeah, I did business too. On 17, with the stop sign,
Yep.
was that in the motion to add speed bumps?
No, I just said that if it doesn't slow people down.
Right.
Can you add speed bumps on that truck route?
Yeah, we can.
You
Your wife
add
said
them
so.
anywhere you want to.
Just say, you tell us where to put them, we'll put them.
Can we make a bypass in Union City on Streets and Alley?
Go around it,
Yeah.
it's up to
We
the county
can't
to
ever
do
get
it.
any speed bumps in the tractor, it sucks.
Well, there is a bypass, you can go 59.
Well,
Well, I'll tell you,
Technically, by
I'll tell you the other
ordinance,
morning,
Susan and Pine are
it
the
takes
next
30
truck
minutes
route.
to go a mile.
I'll tell you the other morning that I turned out off my road and went over to, turned up Maple, and there was a truck, 2 trucks coming, they were about right here at City Hall. By the time I turned out, I went speed limit 25, by the time I hit Maple, one was on his horn, on my ass, and they were ready to go.
Was you leading the pack?
Huh?
Was you leading the
I
pack?
wasn't in that pack. No, I don't pass my boss.
It's
I'm
for
smarter
the
than that.
safety of the people,
But anyway,
and, you know, I would say we probably have 30,000 vehicles a day, or a year, that drive up and down the division. We might have 50 tractors.
We're not doing it right now anyway, are you? You just talking about stop sign, that's.
Yeah. Do you want one that flashes, or what do you want? 'Cause they're-
I would like for flashing.
Especially at first, I would
Yeah.
think.
Those are fairly expensive, so I don't know whether.
Well, David had to find some on some site that were cheap, remember that?
Well, the one I got ordered, it's the flashing speed limit sign, $1,500,
Can we go ahead and do that?
For a flashing speed limit sign, what's a flashing stop sign?
you-
You're putting a flashing speed limit sign, it's radar in you.
Yeah, we ordered one.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Before we knew it was
Radar.
gonna get
For
too.
the vision?
That's what we
We
have.
can move it where we want it,
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but the idea was to put it down there to,
Yeah.
you know,
You already, you got those.
not flashing it, tells you your speed.
I'm already-
Oh, shoot, I'll do that.
I think it's a lot cheaper than repairing the old one.
All right,
That's what you told me Friday.
He's looking at that. Let me look at this.
Yeah.
Okay, put it on next one. I make a motion to leave.
I second that motion. Motion and second, all those in favor? 7:54.